So what do you do when the person you love just doesn't love you back? It's a tough one, right? Well, today, we're going to dive into that and a whole lot more. We're breaking down some really heartfelt advice on love, self-worth, and happiness from a recent Q&A with Rituki Diary. Let's get right into it.
All right, let's start with the big one. This is a question that, so many of us have faced at some point. It's that core human dilemma. What are you supposed to do when the love you're putting out there just isn't coming back?
And really, that single question just cracks open a much bigger conversation about all of our relationships. It gets you thinking about what love even is and what really makes for a good partnership in the long run.
And wow, this comment from a viewer, J.S. Chandrakar, just captures that feeling so perfectly, that intense, gut-wrenching pain of one-sided love. It's a feeling that so many of us can understand, even though it feels like you're completely alone when you're in it.
Okay, so this is where Ritu's advice gets really powerful. Just look at this breakdown. You've got two paths, right? You can build a life trying to win over the person you love, but that's a huge gamble. Or you can build a life with the person who loves you, where you know you'll be cherished and where your happiness is actually a priority. So here it is, the core advice. Spend your life with the person who loves you. And why is that so crucial? Because that person will always be thinking about you, about your happiness, your well-being. It's about building your future on a solid foundation of being truly valued.
This brings us perfectly to the next question from another viewer, which is, does that kind of love always have to end in marriage? Is that the only goal?
And her take on this is pretty nuanced. She says, look, there's no official rule book for love. But she makes the point that when you find a love that's real and true, wanting to be with that person for the rest of your life, well, that's just a totally natural outcome.
All right, so from the matters of the heart, the conversation then took this really fascinating turn. We shifted from love to how we see ourselves and our partners, especially with all the societal pressure out there about how we should look.
And get this comment from Deepak Singh Bhumihar. It is so incredibly revealing, right? It goes straight to the heart of those intense societal pressures around skin tone, and it shows that internal conflict between a preference you think you have and loving the actual person you're with.
Ritu's response here is just brilliant. Instead of even entertaining the idea of changing something so natural, she completely flips the script. She offers this much more loving and, frankly, more helpful philosophy. The goal shouldn't be to change your partner, but to make her feel amazing and glamorous just as she is.
And she gives actual practical ways to do this. It's not about fairness creams, it's about support. Help her with her self-care, give her genuine compliments, and remember, that real glow that comes from inner happiness. It's all about celebrating the person you love, not trying to fix them.
So after talking about our relationships with other people, the conversation then shifted to the one we have with ourselves. And a huge part of that is personal growth, like, tackling the challenge of learning a brand new skill. And here's a great example. A viewer, Manoj Mahato, asked for tips on improving their spoken English. This is such a common goal, something millions of people are working on for their own self-improvement. It's super relatable.
So Ritu breaks her method down into 3 simple but really powerful steps. First, you've got to actually want it. You need a genuine interest. Second, and this one is huge, you have to practice without shame. Making mistakes is how you learn, so don't feel bad about it. And third, you got to be patient. This stuff doesn't happen overnight. And she shares this amazing personal tip. I love this. So who can you practice with who won't judge you? Customer care executives. Think about it. They have to listen. They don't know you personally. It's the perfect low-pressure situation to just practice speaking. What a brilliant idea. Okay, so when you step back and you look at all this advice together, the stuff on love, on appearance, on personal growth, you start to see this really clear philosophy for happiness taking shape. And it all comes back to this one central, incredibly powerful idea, that real, lasting happiness is found in relationships where you are truly valued, where someone is thinking about you, and where you are loved for exactly who you are.
Ritu wraps it all up with this beautiful analogy. Finding that perfect two-way love where the person you're crazy about is just as crazy about you, that's like winning the lottery. It's amazing, for sure, but it's also pretty rare. The safer bet, the more reliable path to a happy life, is to choose the person who chooses you.
And that leaves us with one final, really thought-provoking question for you to chew on. In your own life, when you really think about it, what's more important for your happiness? The act of loving someone else or the feeling of being loved? It's something worth thinking about.